Why did Shedeur Sanders fall so far in the draft?
Well, the eye in the sky does not lie, okay? There's really,
God damn.
The eye in the sky.
he was good at Jackson State. I give him. He did good at Colorado. He did. But there's not going to be 32 NFL owners and coaches that are going to skip a guy because of some underlying reason. They're going to draft a guy based on his talent and what he does, his size, height, weight, arm strength, ability to escape, decision making, all that stuff. He did not pass all the.
Jay Gruden just couldn't help himself, could he? The man cracked open that old dusty playbook of his, but instead of X's and O's, it's scribbled with one name over and over, Shedeur Sanders. Forget football strategy. This isn't game planning. It's pure drama. Gruden's not coaching anymore. He's starring in his own reality show trying to play the villain while pretending it's all about football talk. But come on, what's his real game here? Trust me, this isn't strategy. It's sabotage dressed up like expertise, and it's messier than any locker room meltdown you've ever seen. If you're vibing with this breakdown, hit that subscribe button. It helps way more than you think. Because let's be honest, there's a reason Jay isn't coaching in the NFL anymore. The man couldn't organize a halftime snack, let alone an offense. He's like that neighbor who swears he almost fixed his car once, but you still see him catching an Uber every morning. That's Jay Gruden in football form.
Hey, I just think Dylan Gabriel played better. If you put turnovers to the side, you take away the pick six, you take away the fumble, the sacks, the mixed cues. He had a cleaner football game than Shedeur. And of course, we sat up here, and Shedeur had a great game, phenomenal game, and not take anything from him. And you guys know firsthand, like, we all thought he should have went first round, maybe let second round. Okay, so Shedeur's a good football player, but Dylan's taking just better. You know, and I understand Shedeur threw 2 touchdowns and Dylan Gabriel had the turnovers, but put the turnovers to the side. Okay, act like it never happened. If the turnovers never.
All talk, no traction. He had his shot, fumbled it harder than a rookie wideout in a blizzard, and now he's out here throwing shade at Shedeur like it's going to earn him a headset again. Hate to break it to him, but his relevance expired 3 coaching cycles ago. And that's what really stings. Shedeur is the type of quarterback that guys like Jay dreamed of coaching, drafting, or even understanding. But instead of admiration, they're out here lobbing weak insults from the sidelines like fans tossing soggy nachos at a tailgate. The difference? Nobody's picking them up, Jay. Your takes are stale, and the league's already moved on. Meanwhile, Shedeur's chilling through all the chaos like it's just another rep. Cameras in his face, critics circling like hawks.
Of Colorado Buffalo, where everything comes to a pinnacle. It was awful, right?
Right.
So my point is, he got an opportunity in the 5th round. Let's give him the opportunity, let him earn his way, like most 5th round. Brock Purdy was a 7th rounder. Let him earn his way.
Yeah.
He played great in the first preseason game. Let's keep building blocks and see how he does. But nobody should be given the right to be a 1st round pick just because of the name or whatever. You got to earn that stuff, and he did not earn it based on his college tape from a evaluation standpoint, in my opinion. I saw him play. I watched him. He had some good games, did a lot of great things. I get it. But to say that he's a 1st round pick, he's going to lead my team for the next 15 years, he didn't.
Talk shows screaming overrated or the next big thing, and yet the kid doesn't flinch. He just grabs that playbook, studies the tape, and locks in again. While analysts foam at the mouth trying to diagnose his every move, Shedeur's already out there perfecting the next one. He's the calm in the storm, cool, focused, and unfazed by all the noise. It's almost unfair how effortless he makes it look. And that's the difference. Jay's talking about the game, but Shedeur is out here changing it. It's a good thing Shedeur's built different because the noise around him is deafening. And half these people don't even understand football. Some of them couldn't tell the difference between cover 2 and a bottle of sunscreen, yet they're online acting like coordinators with PhDs in quarterback science. They watch one preseason stream and suddenly think they've cracked the Shedeur Sanders mystery. Now they're tweeting nonsense like, he should throw faster, he needs to scramble more, or the wildest one yet, maybe he should retire early. Seriously? The nerve of these couch quarterbacks is unbelievable. And it's not just casual fans. It's the whole internet acting like they've been studying film with Nick Saban. This is the age of the Wi-Fi warriors. where anyone with a mic and a Wi-Fi connection becomes Coach of the Year overnight. And guess who's at the front of that line? Jay Gruden. The man turned failure into a full-time hobby. He couldn't handle the league when he had a headset, so now he's throwing stones from the parking lot, trying to stay relevant through hot takes instead of play calls. It's tragic and hilarious all at once. If Jay had even half the awareness Shedeur does, maybe he'd still have a job instead of a podcast. But here's the cold truth. While Jay's out there digging for excuses, Shedeur is digging into tape.
Isn't going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, not because of some ridiculous league-wide conspiracy, but because he is simply not good enough. Quarterback drop depth is very important to the offensive line because they set their protection, i.e. the pocket, based on where they expect their quarterback to be. The tackles, for example, will get to a specific depth to position themselves perfectly in between the pass rushers and the quarterback they are trying to sack. But what Shedeur is going to do is he is going to slowly but surely drift back out of this pocket. All of these steps that he is taking him outside of his protection.
He's refining his mechanics, mastering his reads, breaking down defenses like it's second nature. That's work ethic, something Jay clearly left back in the film room years ago. And the irony? It's beautiful. Shedeur doesn't need to respond, doesn't need to post a single word. His game is the clapback. Every perfect spiral, every smooth drive, every calm surgical touchdown is his way of saying, keep talking, I'll keep winning. Each play is a quiet statement that screams louder than any podcast rant ever could. Jay Gruden's biggest contribution to football right now? A masterclass in how not to run a franchise. It's poetic, really? The washed-up critic trying to dim the glow of a rising star, only to end up shining a spotlight on his own career crash. You couldn't script it better if you tried. The man's out here throwing shade like it's confetti, not realizing every insult he tosses just bounces right back at him. And the media? Oh, they eat it up. They act like Shedeur is supposed to crumble under the noise, like one bad throw is going to send him spiraling. It's laughable. Watching these so-called experts analyze his film is like watching conspiracy theorists with telestrators. Slow-motion breakdowns, red circles, arrows, dramatic voiceovers, one incomplete pass, and suddenly is Shedeur overrated? Please. Meanwhile, they completely ignore the 27 darts he's throwing downfield like he's got an aimbot installed.
The first round quarterback, Skip.
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Who else?
Jackson Dart.
And so Jackson Dart was better than Shedeur.
Yeah. From a...
What did he do? Like, what tape is... Where? What tape is this? Like, what did Jackson Dart do that was so much better than Shedeur?
He throws the ball.
Make his team win?
Yeah, they won. They did pretty good. Right?
I feel like, man, I was around Shedeur. I grew up in Dallas. I seen him since he was on The Truth. They won the chip. Then I seen him go to that damn private school. They won the chip.
Yeah.
Then I seen him go to Jack.
The level of denial is wild. They'll dissect a miss like it's the Zapruder film, but skip the perfection that came before it. And then there's Jay, captain of the Let's Misread Shedeur Sanders fan club. The man could watch a flawless touchdown drive and still find a way to twist it into a critique. It's like watching someone burn their toast and then blame the bread for not being grill ready. No accountability, just tired nonsense wrapped in analysis. It's the same recycled energy every time. Pretend expertise, loud opinions, and zero insight. But here's what really gets under their skin. Shedeur doesn't bite. He doesn't waste a single breath on rebuttals or clapbacks. He's too busy working. While Jay's fumbling takes on YouTube, Shedeur's out there grinding, refining his reads, tightening his footwork, studying film until his vision goes blurry. He's not scrolling through Twitter looking for validation or wondering if Jay thought his release was a millisecond off. He's proving every doubter wrong in real time, every practice, every snap, every throw. That's the difference right there. One man talks about football, the other lives it. Let's keep it real. The NFL graveyard is packed with players who had the talent but couldn't handle the noise. The second the spotlight got too bright, they folded like a cheap tent in a hurricane, but that's not Shedeur. He's built different, cool under pressure, sharp like a chess grandmaster, and walking with that quiet swagger of a man who already knows he's 2 moves ahead of everyone else. Critics can line up from coast to coast. It doesn't matter. To Shedeur, they're just pawns on a board he's already mastered. While they waste time analyzing his every blink, he's planning his next checkmate. The funny part? The chaos surrounding him only proves how real his presence is. Nobody spends this much time trying to tear down someone irrelevant. You don't see Jay Gruden staying up late dissecting film of a third-string practice squad quarterback. No, his obsession is laser-focused on Shedeur Sanders. And that's because Shedeur demands attention. You can love him or hate him, but you can't pretend he doesn't matter. He dominates the conversation, whether he's on the field or not. And that's exactly what rattles his critics. They can't control the narrative anymore. So they panic, nitpick, and spin stories just to stay part of his orbit. What makes it all even funnier is how unbothered Shedeur stays through it all. Most young players would have snapped by now, tweeting back,
Not discounting that. He's
So,
a good player.
for
I'm not
me-
saying he's not a good player.
For me,
Being a
for
fifth-round quarterback does not mean you're terrible now.
He ain't no way he was the.
Now, there are some guys that went ahead of him.
Come
like-
on now, like so it's bigger than football. The shit with Shedeur was bigger than football. I don't know how all the owners got in cahoots, and I don't know. You feel me?
Ain't no way.
I don't know how it happened, but the shit
I'm
was bigger
sitting
than
in this-
football.
No, it isn't. I'm sitting in
It
this
is.
chair as a head coach, right? If I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be my guy that's going to work with me
That's
for the next
not
50
true, though.
years, I'm taking him.
Well, why the fuck Leotis McKelvin get drafted before me? Because they thought he was better than me?
Probably.
No, because we ran the nigga over with the car.
posting cryptic stories, maybe even arguing with talk show hosts. But not Shedeur. He's got tunnel vision, total focus. While everyone else is yelling into microphones and chasing clout, he's out there stacking highlights and perfecting his craft. It's wild. The haters are screaming into the void, throwing tantrums online while he's calmly out there dropping dimes like it's nothing. The contrast couldn't be louder. Jay's still recycling the same tired takes like a broken jukebox that won't stop skipping, while Shedeur's rewriting highlight reels one throw at a time. And every play he makes is another reminder that greatness doesn't need to shout, it just performs. One man's living off faded glory, and the other's busy building the future.
Shedeur fans need to recognize there's not a team in the league he'd start for. Not one. That's not ridiculous. That's not unfair. That's not a vast conspiracy. You have folks that absolutely know better saying things like Shedeur was out there with the fifth string offensive line. First of all, there is no such thing as a fifth string offensive line. You have people who know better saying, oh, color me shocked. Those offensive linemen on the field with Shedeur were cut shortly after the game. No shit, man. Guess who doesn't make the team? Guys playing at the end of third preseason.
Every time Shedeur drops another laser-perfect throw on tape, you can practically hear the critics choking on their hot takes. It's poetic justice in motion. Every completion, every touchdown, every moment of calm dominance feels like karma with cleats on. At this point, it's not even about football anymore. Jay Gruden doesn't have opinions. He's got a grudge. Imagine being so bitter about your own career that you wake up every morning just to nitpick a college quarterback who's already outshining everything you ever did. That's not analysis. That's therapy with a microphone. Instead of booking a counseling session, Jay just vents through a podcast and calls it football talk. Sure, it's cheaper than therapy, but way more embarrassing. Because let's be real, Jay had it all once. NFL players, primetime games, national exposure, a chance to prove he belonged among the elite. And what did he do with it? He turned potential into pure chaos.
Now, when I look at this stat line here, even though some people would look at the yards, some people will look at the touchdowns, what I'm seeing is the efficiency, but more or less, the sack yards. And the sack yards say what, Peggy?
5 of 41.
Okay, then go to the next one.
Joe Flacco was 1 sack for 9 yards.
Go to the next one.
Dylan Gabriel was 0-0.
Hello!
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of determining factors there, Peggy. And I think what we all want to see is equal rights.
Yes.
His teams looked like rotating auditions for disappointment, and fans couldn't tell if he was calling plays or just closing his eyes and hoping for a miracle. Even casual fans started asking, wait, does he understand football? That's not exactly the resume you want to flex while criticizing a kid who's clearly on the rise. Yet here we are, Jay sitting behind a mic, breaking down mechanics, like his quarterbacks didn't look lost half the time, running plays that looked like they were drawn with crayons during lunch break. It's like watching a chef who once burned water try to lecture Gordon Ramsay on how to boil an egg.
Shedeur, when 31 other organizations said, he's cancer, we don't want to draft him at that high level. And it might not be him. He could be a great kid, great quarterback. It's everything that he brings.
And that's the question I have. What does he bring?
Right.
He brings, coming from a Hall of Fame dad.
Does he watch film?
That's the thing.
Does he do anything
Pat Shurmur
in the room?
Confirmed that he does. And Pat Shurmur, coach with the Browns, was in the NFL and said, if you need a quarterback, this is the guy.
The confidence is insane. The delusion, almost admirable. Almost. Meanwhile, Shedeur couldn't care less. He doesn't need validation from a guy whose most viral clip involves yelling on the sidelines after another busted play. While Jay's chasing relevance through recycled opinions, Shedeur's chasing perfection. He's obsessed with consistency. That's his secret weapon. While the noise gets louder, he just keeps his head down, perfecting every motion, every read, every throw. That's what separates stars from spectators. One man's clinging to the past, the other's creating it in real time. Shedeur isn't chasing hype, he's building habits. When the cameras shut off and the stadium lights fade, he's still grinding in silence, doing the work nobody sees. That's why he couldn't care less if Jay or any of the talking heads try to question him. The man knows his grind speaks louder than any half-baked hot take. But the critics, they'll never understand that. They're addicted to their own echo, convinced that loud opinions equal insight. Most of them couldn't break down a cover scheme if their careers depended on it. Their football knowledge usually stops at highlight clips and half-remembered stats they read off a teleprompter. Listening to some of these analysts is like hearing someone call themselves an astronaut because they once watched Apollo 13. It just doesn't add up. And yet, they keep twisting themselves into knots, trying to paint Shedeur's calm, controlled demeanor as some kind of weakness.
7 in middle school because of Mike Vick. So he had that impact on a whole generation of kids where we were wearing his sneakers. Kids wanted cornrows like him and AI. Shedeur is now about to do that for this generation. And that's what the NFL is really scared of. You're going to have a black quarterback as the face of the NFL. And I'm not saying Pat Mahomes, and I love Patty. I feel like he's next in line behind Tom Brady, but you're talking about a black quarterback that comes from a black family, from a black father, and they don't lack confidence and they don't lack money. That makes them uncomfortable.
He's too composed, they say. He's not emotional enough. He doesn't yell like a leader should. It's laughable. Since when did leadership become about who can scream the loudest? True leadership isn't noise, it's trust. It's putting in the hours so that when the moment comes, your team believes in you without hesitation. And that's exactly what Shedeur brings. Command without chaos, control without theatrics. Jay wouldn't recognize that kind of leadership if it smacked him right in the headset. He still thinks yelling equals authority, which explains a lot about how his coaching career went south in the first place. For Shedeur, it's all about precision. Precision in his throws, his reads, his timing, and even how he tunes out the noise around him. He's surgical with it. No wasted motion, no wasted emotion. That's what drives the critics mad. The more they talk, the more obvious it becomes that he's playing a completely different game, one fueled by focus, not fame. And let's be real, if he wasn't as good as he is, none of these people would care. Nobody wastes this much time trying to tear down mediocrity. You don't see talk shows spending segments debating whether the backup punter's form is flawed. This level of obsession only surrounds greatness, and Shedeur's proven again and again he's that guy. While Jay's busy replaying his bitterness on an endless loop, Shedeur is out there rewriting the narrative every single Saturday with throws that hush entire stadiums. One man's trapped in the rear view, clinging to what used to be while the other's blazing full speed toward the future, and with every snap, that gap between them gets wider and louder.
Equality amongst the locker room in Cleveland. Because up until this point, we've only had really one opportunity to evaluate Shedeur. and that was the Carolina Panthers game. Now, given unforeseen circumstances of him being injured, he lost an opportunity. And that's what goes back to my point. The best ability is
Availability.
okay. Now, as I was looking at that game, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, there's certain things as a fan, but as a football critic that I know has carried over. And these are bad.
It's like watching history update itself in real time, and Jay's still trying to hit rewind. The wildest part, Jay and the media actually think their noise matters. They sit there tossing darts at Shedeur's name like it's a carnival game, but the target isn't even in the same room. Shedeur's not listening. He's too focused, too locked in, too busy prepping for the next battle. It's like trying to heckle someone through a soundproof window. The only ones hearing the noise are the hecklers themselves, but that doesn't stop them. Every drop pass becomes a national emergency. Every slightly off throw turns into a full-blown documentary about why Shedeur will never make it. It's comedy disguised as commentary. These critics act like perfection is the only acceptable standard, but let's not kid ourselves. These are the same people who once crowned Jay Gruden a genius after one lucky season. Their track record isn't just questionable, it's historically unreliable. They hype failures, doubt greatness, and then pretend they saw it coming when the truth plays out in front of them. What really drives them wild is that Shedeur doesn't fit their lazy little script. He's not arrogant enough to play the villain, not shaky enough to be labeled a bust, not superficial enough to be written off as just hype. He's too real, too consistent.
Just a report that Sanders stayed 5 hours after OTAs was over this last practice too. 5 hours over. So
I mean, the kid
his work
watches,
ethic is
his
proven.
work ethic.
Yeah.
You don't go on the field and then let's think about it, right? The baggage that he brings. Why is he one of the favorite teammates already?
Yeah,
with the team. When you think about, he brings no negativity. All he brings is a confidence level and a belief, and to speak it and tell you what he believes. If that's baggage to people, I think people need to look in the mirror at your own insecurity.
I have to agree with that. This kid doesn't have any off the field issues. You never
Like,
hear
what are we
him
talk-
in
you know what I mean? What are we
any
talking about, like,
nonsense.
negative?
So,
There's no negative.
Too calm, and that kills them. They can't monetize composure. They can't spin quiet excellence into clickbait. So what do? They make up chaos. They invent storylines, twist headlines, and try to force a reaction from a man who's already 5 steps ahead. And that's the punchline. While they're screaming for drama, Shedeur's out there creating legacy. They twist everything about him, don't they? His silence suddenly means arrogance. His focus becomes aloofness, and his confidence gets mislabeled as entitlement. It's wild how the media spins it all, not because they believe it, but because it's easier than facing the truth. Shedeur Sanders is everything they can't control. He's the reminder that talent mixed with discipline doesn't need permission to shine. That's why Jay's comments drip with desperation. He's not analyzing anymore. He's auditioning for attention, trying to stay relevant in a game that already moved past him. Meanwhile, Shedeur's out there building a legacy brick by brick, throw by throw, until all that noise fades back into the background where it belongs. The best part, he doesn't have to clap back, rant, or prove anything through words. His game does all the talking. Clear, loud, and undeniable. Every pass he throws is another statement, every win another reminder that the truth doesn't need defending when it's this obvious. So if you've been riding with us through this madness, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this video. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. See you on the next one.